James catches, puts up a three. Won't go. Rebound Bosch. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang!
This is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable!
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Welcome into Talking About Balls. This is our first episode published on all different types of platforms, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever podcast thing you have. We're here, and we're hoping to entertain you with some great sports dialogue. We had a lot happening yesterday in the NFL world. A big-time receiver that likes to use drugs is on a different team now. He's on the Tennessee Titans. Will he be a contender? We'll get into that. Will the Titans be a contender? Maybe the most anticipated Summer League debut we've ever seen. We have a guy in the NBA hurt last year, but is starting to become really great. We'll talk about some NFL stuff. Colin Cowherd had a really interesting quarterback list. The ESPYs happened last week. We'll talk what our ESPY picks are and whatnot. Talk some fantasy football, and then get into some of these NFL teams, breaking them down. So let's start out with the news that I'm happy to see, because besides from this, it's been a pretty dry sports week. We were in the time where there's a 2-day period where there's no NBA, NHL, MLB, or NFL on. It's when the MLB has the All-Star break. There's no sports on. It only happens 2 days out of the week. It's the dead point in a lot of sports. But we had some big news yesterday. Deandre Hopkins has now decided to sign with the Tennessee Titans. He listed a few months ago he wants a quarterback that loves the game, defense, because defense wins championships, and a team that he can contend with. And after checking off 0 of those boxes, he decides to go with the Tennessee Titans. 2-year, $26 million deal with incentives up to $32 million. But some of them are unrealistic, like win the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen. Hopkins, he got into Arizona after getting traded from Houston in that crazy trade that David Johnson was the big piece in it. He hasn't been the greatest after his 2020 season. He had a great year with the Cardinals. They made the playoffs and choked. But in 3 years, 2,600 yards, so about 800 yards a season, 17 touchdowns in 3 years. But he did have 1,400 yards in 2020. Last year, 717 yards, 3 touchdowns in 9 games, had the PED suspension, and then got hurt towards the back end of the season. This is a move for Tennessee that I guess they feel if they have a healthy quarterback in Ryan Tannehill, who is, I think...
aging.
You think?
Yeah.
He's hanging on to relevance. He's kind of been like the last few years... not awful. He's been okay, but it just feels like one of these years he's going to fall off a cliff. But what does this do for Tennessee? Contender in the AFC South, contender in the AFC, or nothing?
Contender in the AFC South. I can
and then
see
that's
that,
not saying much. I mean,
no,
there's 4 teams.
They're not gonna contend in the AFC. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna contend. You're gonna contend in the AFC South, but that I could see that being about it.
Maybe if it's 2002, the Titans can compete, because I mean, playing defense and running the ball, it's not working in the NFL. The top teams in the NFL. Just look at last year's Super Bowl. Mahomes, best quarterback in the league. Jalen Hurts is top 5. AFC in the championship game, he had Joe Burrow, top 2. Josh Allen made the playoffs, top 5. Lawrence made the playoffs. Herbert made the playoffs. Brock Purdy was good in the playoffs. There was not many teams in the NFL playoffs last year that were running the ball, didn't have a good quarterback. So the age of just run the ball, play defense, win the game 16-13, it's not cutting it anymore. And Tennessee, it was funny, the odds, they always have odds updates after signings. Titans went from plus 8,000 to plus 8,000. Didn't move at all. Is DeAndre Hopkins, is this like a scenario they bring in Julio Jones a few years ago and he's kind of washed, or are we getting good production out of DeAndre Hopkins in Tennessee?
D-Hop, he could still be able to produce. He'll do better
He
than
could,
what,
but will he?
Yeah, I feel like he could. As long as it's all up to Ryan Tannehill if he has a good year or if there's still going to be a a run-first team with Derrick Henry, which they most likely will, I could see him having the same thing as he did last year, like 700 yards. That's about it.
So it's tough because you only got to worry about two options on Tennessee, Henry, Hopkins. And Derrick Henry is ancient for a running back. He is
Like 28, 29,
I think he's 29 years old. Let's see.
pushing 30.
Yeah, 29. He'll be 30 this season.
Yeah.
At some point, I get he's big, fast, strong. Derrick Henry, big, fast, strong. But at some point, he's not going to be good. Might not be this year, but at some point, especially when you give him 349 carries this year, 378 in 2020, 300 in 2019, you're running him into the freaking ground because that's how they've that's the only chance they've had to really win games is run Derrick Henry into the ground. He's carried the ball 1,700 times in his career. We've seen running backs that are at Derrick Henry's level or even better with less carries kind of fall off at this similar age. I'm not saying he's going to be awful, but at some point you get 300 carries every single year. It's not going to keep up. But is Derrick Henry going to be more effective with DeAndre Hopkins now that the defenses don't have to just play for Derrick Henry? They have to play for Hopkins?
They could. I could feel Derrick Henry. You get injured last year. You did what? Break your foot? What did he do?
He was not injured last year. That was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, forget that then. But the defense, they'll be worried about D-Hop for a decent amount. But they're also going to be worried about Derrick Henry. They might load a little bit more into the box on defense, but still have your safety, your corners. Your corners covering Julio, and then your safeties.
Julio's on
hovering
the
over
team,
top.
but okay.
D-Hop.
But I like this move because the AFC South is not good. I think Tennessee's probably better than the Colts, probably slightly better than the Texans. And then the Jags, they had a good year this last year, but it's not a shoo-in.
Better than the Jags.
They're not better than the Jags, but it's not a shoo-in that the Jags are just going to run away with the division. Tennessee puts them in a spot where it's division or bust. I don't think the Titans could get into playoffs as a wild card team.
No.
They're going to have to win the division, winning 8, 9, 10 games, or you're out of the playoffs. And Tennessee, this move is interesting because it puts them. We were talking last week about the Chicago Bulls, that they're just kind of mid. This is going to be Tennessee. They're going to be mid. And I would have liked for them to cut Derrick Henry this year, cut Ryan Tannehill this year, try to go for Caleb Williams. Because I think
you already drafted 2 quarterbacks. You have Malik Willis and Will Levis.
How about we do it again? But none of them are on the level of Caleb Williams.
No.
You cut Derrick Henry. You cut Ryan Tannehill. You have Malik Willis and Will Levis play the season. If they're good enough to keep them, you win some games. You have a good young quarterback. If they're not, you get good trade value for them. You go get Caleb Williams. But Tennessee's going to win 7, 8 games. They're going to be in the middle of the pack. They're stuck. They're stuck with Ryan Tannehill, who I think this is his last year with the team. Maybe last year in the NFL, really. He is
30.
quickly getting older, 34 years old. He'll be 35 this year. He's never been a great quarterback besides from the year he went to the AFC Championship with Tennessee. He's not going to cut it. And the teams that you see with average to below average quarterbacks that make a run, they have a stellar defense, top 5 defense in the league, and then they have weapons that can make the quarterback look better. Tennessee's got none of them. But they're in a spot with this move that maybe they make the playoffs. Maybe they find something in Will Levis and they can be contenders. But as it stands, it doesn't move the needle. I think it helps them stay in the reach of the Jaguars and whatnot. I do think this is DeAndre Hopkins is going to be good. It's not like Julio Jones. I saw a post on Instagram comparing this to Randy Moss going to the Titans. He was beyond washed. Randy Moss was beyond washed when he went to
Some people don't even know Randy Moss played for the Titans.
Well, back in my day, I mean, he'd catch the ball But I mean, when Andre Johnson went to the Titans, there was like a comparison that DeAndre Hopkins' career is over because he's now going to the Tennessee Titans. which is stupid. I mean, when Randy Moss went to the Titans, his last 4 years were 300 yards, 100 yards, 139 yards.
Yeah, and he's around like 35 or something when he was in those
He
last
was
years.
probably older. I think
Yeah,
he was probably 36, 37. DeAndre Hopkins,
he's around 30, 31.
he's not that old. Let's see here. Wouldn't be surprised if he's under 30. He's 31. Okay,
Yeah,
so he's a little bit older, but he'll be good for Tennessee. It's a good move. There's not much risk in the move. It's not a huge contract. I would much rather than what Odell Beckham get. I mean, I think he got more. I think was it $18 million a year. But I would much rather the contract than Odell Beckham or some other players. DeAndre Hopkins is still probably a top 10 receiver in the league. Well, I guess Odell Beckham did not get a lot of money, only $2 million a year. So
You were a little off on that one.
my bad on that one, but I think this is still a good signing. But if Tennessee could have had a guy like an A.J. Brown, which I don't know if he'd ever cross paths with Tennessee.
I don't think you'd ever want to.
But if A.J. Brown was like on the Titans, imagine A.J. Brown on the Titans. They would win so many Super Bowls. So that was the big news in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins. Imagine you put prime DeAndre Hopkins, prime J.J. Watt, prime Deshaun Watson on the same team. Imagine how many Super Bowls they would win. They would definitely not blow a 24-0 lead to the Chiefs. That would never happen.
Never.
So that was the biggest news of the day. But tracking back to last week, Victor Wembanyama had his debut, and I first think I see this guy being one of the more hated players in the NBA because
He's a first-round pick. You get all this
well,
hype.
first
Nobody's
overall
gonna
pick.
want
I mean, I think he's going to be really good, but the announcers got to chill out. First off, Doris Burke on the broadcast. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks, 2 of 13 shooting in his first game. He wasn't good. Doris Burke was calling him like the greatest thing to ever exist. He had a rough game in that first game. Second game, he bounced back. We'll talk about that. But the Rockets were in a 1-point game in the Summer League. Half the screen was the Rockets game. The other half of the screen was him standing. Just like he is going to be, when the NBA schedule comes out next month, so many national TV games, and he's just going to be a player that everybody is going to love to hate because of all the attention he gets. The first game, he already said he was nervous. The crowd was packed. He didn't know what he was doing. He lost the ball, couldn't shoot. But the second game, 27 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks, 9 of 14 from the field. Performed much better in that second game. The lights were a little bit too bright in the first game. 9 blocks in 2 games in his Summer League debut. What did you think about Wemby in his first 2 games in the Summer League?
The first game, like, you look at those stats, it's not great, like, at all.
And even not even the stats. I mean, he turned the ball over like 5 times. He missed a dunk. I mean, he was letting
and got dunked on.
He was letting everybody down in that arena. I mean, every time he touched the ball, the people were, "Ooh, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Oh, he missed a dunk. Oh, what's he gonna do here? Oh, he airballed a 3.
He missed the 3-point.
He airballed a 3. Oh, we just paid $180 to watch a Summer League game, and he sucked. But the second game, I think this could be what we see in his NBA debut. His first game, the place is going to be packed. There's going to be so many people there, probably struggle. But when it's a random Tuesday night when nobody's watching, he can just play ball. He's going to be really good. And again, sorry for cutting you off. What did you think about his first 2 games?
His first game was bad. His second game, he did a lot better. Just an overall better performance than the first game.
And the Spurs decided to shut him down for the rest of the Summer League. He will not be playing in the rest of the Summer League. Speaking of Summer League, it is the Summer League Championship tonight. We're recording this on Monday, July 17th. The Rockets and I believe no, not the Rockets. Yeah, the Rockets. The Rockets and the Cavs. Jabari Smith has been great in this postseason, or not postseason, the Summer League, and it's the championship 9:00 on ESPN. Speaking of Summer League, this is where we get to see young players really kind of show out. Some of these players Like it's funny. It's like a varsity player playing on JV when these guys that shouldn't be in this game, like Jabari Smith is a top 5 pick, good season. He shouldn't be in the summer league, but there are a lot of teams, the Magic, the Rockets, there are the Pistons that have young groups of people that can make some noise. So last year we saw it with Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings last year were a young team that made a lot of noise, that made the playoffs. If you're a betting man, who would be this year's Sacramento Kings? A young team that has some flair to them that can make a run.
Orlando Magic.
Really? That is an awful take because that's my take. You stole mine. I think it's the Magic. Paolo Banchero last year, as a rookie, if his name was not Paolo Banchero, if he was a big-name player, which I think he will be, and if he didn't play for the Orlando Magic, there would be a lot of hype around this guy. He averaged 20 points a game. 7 rebounds a game. He's going to take a next step. I think he'll be an all-star next year. And then Franz Wagner from the Magic as well. He has been a great player for them. He's a really good defender. He's a really good shooter. And his numbers have just been increasing. His rookie year, he had 12 points. The year after that, he had 18 points. This is a team that they have a lot of good role players as well. This is a team that is not just top-heavy. They're not even top-heavy because their top isn't even good. But this is just a team that has young guys and a lot of young guys that have a chance to develop in this upcoming season. You know, they weren't even that bad this past season. There were signs that the Magic could get better, and they did get better. And I think this is a team that, in an Eastern Conference where it's kind of open, you have Milwaukee, you have Boston, you have Miami, and you have Philly as probably the 4 biggest teams. Besides from that, you got the Nets, you got the Knicks. Orlando, I think, can make some noise. Wendell Carter's on the team, Markelle Fultz. I mean, they had 8 guys this past season, 8 guys, double-digit points, and a lot of them are young, and a lot of them are going to get better. I mean, I think it's the youngest team in the NBA. They are going to make some real noise next season. Speaking of young teams, I don't think anybody in the league has the young talent that the Oklahoma City Thunder have, all the draft picks that they have as well, and Chet Holmgren, a guy that last year
Got injured.
Last year he was criticized because he was very, very skinny. He put on some weight this offseason. Even last year in the Summer League, he went up against big guys. There was a guy, Kofi Coburn. I forget what team he was playing on, but he was from Illinois. This guy's a big man. He was 7 foot, 260. I mean, he was a guy that would just whoop your butt in the back of a parking lot type guy. And Chet Holmgren was small. He was small, and he had some blocks on him. And the NBA, it's not 1985 anymore. You don't got to be a big, strong, physical guy. The NBA is a lot of shooting. You don't got to be strong to shoot. Kevin Durant, skinny. Brandon Ingram, skinny. They don't got no muscle. Kevin Durant couldn't bench 185 at the combine. He couldn't do it for 1 rep. He put on weight. He is a great defender. I mean, this is a guy that not many people are going to realize, but he's going to be a rookie this year. Got injured last year, doesn't count, like Ben Simmons did for like 8 years. You can be a rookie until you play your first game. So if he stays healthy, you already have Shea, who's a 30-point-per-game scorer. You got Josh Giddey. You got Chet Holmgren. Are the Thunder a playoff contender this year?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
No reasoning?
Just, yeah. Like,
they are? Playoff contender versus are they going to make it?
it's a little bit of both. I feel like they could be a playoff contender. They might end up falling to the play-in, and then they'll be a 7, 8 seed.
And that's I think that's really quicker than they kind of expected. I mean, this whole team was, okay, we got young pieces, let's be bad, let's get draft picks. This year is when we start to really see the Thunder's draft picks. So many picks in the future. This year coming up, they have 4 first-round picks and a second-round pick. They have a first-round pick from Utah, which we don't know. Utah's probably not going to be too good. Clippers, that'll be a low pick. Houston, which probably make the playoffs or they're close to it. And then their own pick. They could have 4 picks. One of them could be top 10. And then, in the future in 2025, they have 5 first-round picks. 2026, they have 4. And those picks, I think, could be moved if the Thunder want to jumpstart. Say the Thunder this year are a 7-8 seed. In next year's offseason, they can go get a big-time player. I mean, if Giannis isn't happy in Milwaukee, that's in the realm of possibility with the young pieces they have and the picks that they have. I do think their future is a little bit overrated because people just think, okay, they have all these picks, they're going to win games. You still got to hit on the draft picks, but I do think the Thunder will be a very, very good team. Let's move on to Colin Cowherd, which people don't like. I think, you listen to his show. He gets a bad rap, but he knows what he's talking about. If you listen to his show, you watch his show, he knows what he's talking about. Colin Cowherd had his top 10 quarterback list. Wayne, read off these top 10 quarterbacks. What do you think? Read them off 1 to 10.
Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Joe Burrow, number 2. Josh Allen, number 3. T-Law, number 4.
Who's T-Law?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. Oh, that's a weird. Why would you ever call him that?
Justin Herbert, number 5. Aaron Rodgers, number 6. Jalen Hurts, number 7. Number 8, Lamar Jackson. Number 9, Matthew Stafford. And number 10, Russ.
All of these personalities, Stephen A. Smith, Colin Cowherd, Skip Bayless, they try to balance what's going to get clicks and what's right. And if you can balance that perfectly, you're going to be great for TV. Skip Bayless, he is around the sports world known as a quote-unquote idiot. I'm not calling him that, but that's kind of his reputation. Is Undisputed the number 1 show, or was it the number 1 show for a while? Yes. Why? Because people want to hear when people make stupid claims because they want to get mad at you. If you come on here, if anybody comes on and just has the perfect take, I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. The Suns are going to win the NBA and the NBA championship. Just the Nuggets are going to win the championship, whatever. The Dodgers are going to win the World Series, the Braves, right? And you're just boring, cut and dry, boring.
Yeah,
Mahomes is going to win MVP. Nobody cares.
Yeah, you have to have some bold predictions.
You have to have some bold predictions, and some of them you believe in. But the top 3 gets going, and this is where he balances credibility to outlandish. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen. That's the top 3. That's my top 3. And then Trevor Lawrence, Herbert, Rodgers. But then Jalen Hurts at 7. Jalen Hurts at 7. I'm not a huge fan of Jalen Hurts. Like, he's not one of my favorite players. But at the end of the day, I mean, I got to give him respect. I know Aaron Rodgers is a 4-time MVP. I know he's a 4-time MVP. But the last year of Aaron Rodgers didn't make the playoffs, was relatively bad a lot of the season. Aaron Rodgers is not better than Jalen Hurts, who just made the Super Bowl. And then you got Russell Wilson at 10, which I like Russ. I don't think people made fun of him last year. He's not top 20. He's a good quarterback.
More bathrooms in his house than more touchdown passes.
What?
Yeah, you didn't see that at all last year?
What?
It was
Well,
always a thing.
I didn't hear
going
what you said.
More bathrooms in his house than touchdown passes.
He has 17 bathrooms in his house?
It was something like that.
I just saw, I'm looking at it now, 16 touchdown passes. Who needs 17 bathrooms in their house? That's beyond the point. Mr. Unlimited was not good last year. He wasn't good, but he also had a potato at coach, Nathaniel Hackett. You bring in Sean Payton. Now, I think Russ is going to be good, but he's not top 10. He's not top 10. It's not a sexy name, but Jared Goff's better. Jared Goff is better than Russell Wilson as it stands. He had 13 more touchdowns. He threw for 1,000 more yards and had 6 less interceptions. Geno Smith is better than Russell Wilson, which is crazy as they traded him away. Geno was better than Russ.
4,282 passing yards, 30 pass touchdowns, and 11 interceptions.
Kirk Cousins is better than Russell Wilson. Kirk Cousins is the only quarterback in the NFL, get this, going all the way back to 2015, to throw for 25 touchdown passes every single season. Not Brady, not anybody else. I don't know anybody else that would have been played. Not Rodgers, not Russell Wilson. He's been consistently average. He's been consistently Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kirk Cousins is the borderline of just, you're going to win 9 games with him. You're going to lose the first round of the playoffs. But Russell Wilson at 10, he's got the name value. Stafford at 9 is fine. I mean, what's your biggest, what you don't like of this list?
I'd have to go with, like you stated earlier, having Jalen Hurts at 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my biggest thing with this list.
And I can see if you want to put Rodgers in front of him because Rodgers has been there for a while. But has Trevor Lawrence accomplished more than Jalen Hurts? Has Trevor Lawrence been better than Jalen Hurts? And Justin Herbert is interesting. Justin Herbert is the biggest. I like Justin Herbert, and I don't want to trash him as I'm going to right here. But he is the biggest. He's perfect. He's big kid, strong arm, perfect quarterback. He's made the playoffs once, and if you go down that list, of quarterbacks, there's all those quarterbacks would get ridiculed for blowing a 27-0 lead.
Matt Ryan.
In the playoffs. He's not on the list.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
27-0 is worse than 28-3.
there's still jokes about the Falcons blowing that to this day. So
The NFL posted on Twitter the full game of that, and they had to delete it because the people were getting mad. Falcons fans can't get away
they're
from it.
getting PTSD from it.
But Justin Herbert, he has, every year he's been in the league, the Chargers have been a dark horse Super Bowl contender. They've been a playoff team that you just put them in every time. If Herbert doesn't make the playoffs this year or he struggles a little bit, we have to start to question Justin Herbert because we haven't at all. He always gets a pass. Blow a 27-0 lead, he's fine. He didn't win. He didn't, was average in terms of wins this past year. Oh, he's fine. I don't like to say quarterbacks or win-losses are quarterback stats, but at the end of the day, quarterback is the biggest thing when it comes to winning football games. And Justin Herbert's 25-24 in his career. He's a 500 quarterback. I think he has to start to get some sort of accountability with Justin Herbert. Is there anybody on this list that just a bad spot for them? Lamar Jackson, I think, should be higher than 8. Trevor Lawrence is not top 5 in the league. Anything else?
No, that's really it.
Who would you like to see in here instead of anybody? Is there anybody that shouldn't be in here? Guys that should be?
No, I feel like
No?
possibly
Russell
Dak-
Wilson should be top 10, and Dak shouldn't.
I feel like Dak should. He should be in front of. Yeah, he should be in front of Russell Wilson.
Geno Smith
But-
shouldn't.
Dak Prescott's a Cowboy, so everybody just hates on him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I feel like
Geno
he could
Smith's
go
not
up
better
there.
than Russ? No,
It's just 1 year.
Jared Goff's not better than Russ?
He's up there. I feel
Kirk
like
Cousins
if he
not
has
better?
a good season this year, then Jared Goff could get up there.
Kirk Cousins not better?
He's like 11, 12. He's
Derek Carr's not better?
no.
So, Russell Wilson is a top 5 quarterback in the league, you're saying?
No.
I mean, top 10, whatever. No, not top 5.
He's like 10, 11, 12. He's right there for
Okay.
me right now. I mean, he had one bad season.
Will the Broncos make the playoffs?
Yeah, I feel like you bring in Sean Payton.
They're going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, you have
Are the Chiefs going to make the playoffs?
yes,
Are the Bengals?
yes,
Are the Bills?
yes.
One team from the AFC South. Are the Ravens?
Yeah, the Jaguars and then
Are the Ravens?
Yeah.
Are the Chargers? We're at 5 right now. Are the Dolphins?
Yeah.
We're at 6. Are the Jets?
No.
Jets are not going to make it.
No.
What?
I feel like you're putting all this hype around Aaron Rodgers, and he's no like.
The Jets had Zach Wilson and Mike White, and they won 7 games.
Yes, but I feel like you.
They were 7-3 with Zach Wilson. He's not a top 100 quarterback in the league. You bring in Aaron Rodgers, and they're not going to make the playoffs?
No, I feel like it'll be close, but I feel like they'll end up struggling.
How are they going to struggle? How are they going to struggle?
They're just gonna struggle. It's like the Chargers. You have a really good roster, and you're just gonna struggle to try and make the playoffs.
They won 7 games with not a top 50 quarterback on the roster, and the Broncos are going to be better.
Yeah.
I want to get what you're smoking.
You're gonna bring in Sean Payton, who's a way better head coach than
I know
Nathaniel
what this
Hackett.
is. I know what this is. I know what this is. We just talked about Skip Bayless trying to get clicks. You're trying to make a false statement.
I'm trying to make a bold prediction.
You're trying to make a bold prediction.
Yes.
I'm going to hold you to that. So the Broncos get into the AFC as a 7 seed.
Yes.
And the Jets are just like as the same as they were last year.
Around that.
After a huge quarterback upgrade.
Yes,
oh
around
my
that.
God. What are you saying? Garrett Wilson's not going to get better?
He will.
Breece Hall didn't play the last 10 weeks of the season. Is he not going to be great?
He'll be about.
Is Sauce Gardner not going to be the best
same.
corner in the league next year? Is that
Yeah, he
defense
will.
not going to be freaking amazing?
That's not what I would say.
How? You grind my gears, sir. The Jets are not going to make the playoffs, but the Broncos are. I mean, that's disgusting. So the ESPYs was last Wednesday. There were a lot of awards. We're going to pick the ones we care about. I'm not going to say any names. I don't want to offend any people, but we're not picking the best WNBA player. That's not going to be on our show here today. I know you were looking forward to
I
picking
was not.
Sabrina Ionescu. So, did you see her 3-point contest?
Yeah. Was it
Missed 2 shots.
36 points?
Yeah, I don't know how many shots.
37 breaks a WNBA record.
28 out of 30 from 3. She's the one few hoopers in the WNBA. I'd get killed by every single player in that league, though. So, the best team in the NFL.
The Chiefs.
Or no, the best team in the sports was the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs or Nuggets, that's close, but the path Kansas City had to go through, I think, was harder. You lose.
Everyone said after losing Tyreek Hill, they weren't going to be a
especially
good team.
you.
I literally said they were going to be a possible playoff contender. Yes.
Possible.
Yeah, but I wasn't saying
It's-
they were going to be last in their division. I said they were being second.
When
I
you
was
have
saying they were going to be the
15 on
second
your
in their
team,
division.
it's no possibility. I said the Chiefs were going to the Super Bowl. I was right. Thank you to me. Comeback athlete. Who won it? Jamal Murray did. Who was your pick? Who was your pick for the comeback athlete? Comeback athlete.
Geno Smith.
Your pick was Geno Smith. What do you come back from being bad?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like someone you.
I'm picking Jamal Murray because he won the championship.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Put up 28 points per game in the postseason. Geno Smith didn't make the playoffs, if you knew.
Yeah, I know.
And he wasn't even a top 10 player. He probably is. But Jamal Murray was great, and he came back from something way worse. Torn ACL is better than being bad. So, Geno Smith is my pick for comeback player, comeback athlete in the no. Your pick's Geno Smith, which is wrong. My pick's Jamal Murray. Best championship performance, they picked Lionel Messi, which is crazy because he wasn't even the best championship performance in that game. I know he lost, but Kylian Mbappe had 3 goals in the World Cup final. Messi had 2. Mbappe had a hat trick. He put the ball in the net 4 times, scored a pen. I know he lost. He is the best championship pick. A lot of good options. You have Jalen Hurts, who even lost the Super Bowl.
Mahomes.
Jokic was great. Who are you picking for the best championship performance?
Give me a second here. I'm trying to look up some of the stats for some people right here.
If I don't pick Mbappe, I would go with Jokic. Jokic was amazing in all of really the entire playoffs. He was great, especially in the finals, which I understand he's playing an 8 seed, but like to average a triple double to put the team on his back like he's Greg Jennings. I mean, I don't know if they call the best championship performance a game or an entire series, but Jokic had 30 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal and a half a game, and they won in 5. Do you have your pick yet for best?
Yeah, what you were saying, I'll probably have to go with Jokic.
You'll
I
go
was
with
trying to
Jokic?
look up Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl stats.
He was
21 of 27 for
didn't have a lot of yards.
182.
Yeah, but he
No interceptions, but 3 touchdowns.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, best play. I'm a big Vikings fan, if you didn't know. It's not close. It's not close.
It's the Jefferson
4th and
catch.
18. Justin Jefferson, better than Odell Beckham's catch because there was a defender right there with him.
Bill's cornerback literally caught it for him.
No,
That's all I have to say.
No, he didn't. That strength to bring the ball back, that's easily the best play. Easily the best play. And then the best men's college athlete is quickly becoming one of my favorite athletes. Caleb Williams is so darn good. He is Patrick Mahomes on steroids. He's not as good as Mahomes. He's not as good as Mahomes, but in college, of course, college is way worse. But in terms of college, Caleb Williams is Patrick Mahomes on steroids. If you want to just... he's so fun. He's so fun. I can't wait to watch USC. I don't care if they're playing at a 10:30 at night game. I'm watching the whole freaking game and going to sleep at 2 in the morning because Caleb Williams is freaking electric. This guy runs behind the pocket 40 freaking yards, turns around, spins, hurdles somebody, picks up 30 yards in the process. He won the Heisman. You have any dispute, or are you going to be right for once?
I won't have any dispute.
No dispute.
No. You want me to say what? You want me to get a bold prediction out?
Yeah.
Drake May.
Drake May.
Yes.
My guy, Drake May, played against nobody in his career, in his college career, and he didn't win the Heisman.
Yeah, I get it. I just wanted to bring out a bold prediction. But yeah, I'm gonna go Caleb Williams.
There's not really any. There's not really guys in college basketball that were too great. You can go with Brandon Miller, great shooter, or helping his friend murder somebody, or something. I don't know. So
good shooter like John Morant.
Yep, that is the ESPYs. Fantasy football is around the corner. It's July 17th as we record this. Our draft is 20 days away. Fantasy football is so fun. I've already done 8 drafts previously. I haven't
even done one.
I don't keep up with them. At the
You
end of
just
the
draft to see what you get on.
at the
for
end
the
of the year,
team.
my teams are like 3-12, and I got 4 guys on IR that haven't played since week 4. But fantasy football is here almost. It's about here. In about 2 weeks. I always say August 1st it's fantasy football draft season all the way up until the day of the year, the day of the first game on a Thursday night. It's the first round of fantasy football. Let's run through the first round of the draft. First pick, who would you pick? You have the number 1 pick. You have 101. Who would you pick?
Justin Jefferson.
That's a great pick, and he's just a great fella. Will be the greatest receiver of all time. Just kidding. But he is the clear number 1 pick here. Easy number 1 pick. My number 2 pick is going to be a guy that he was a question that he was even going to play for this team this year. And it's going to be Austin Eckler. I've had him in fantasy for a while. This bozo on the opposite side of me decided to trade him.
Yeah, did bad for 3 weeks in a row. Decided to trade him, and then
First
he goes
game he's got
off. Just
traded like
all of a
Najee
sudden.
Harris and Rashad Bateman, I think it was.
Oh my God.
That was great. I got to go Austin Eckler at number 2. He doesn't want to be on the Chargers. It's kind of like Josh Jacobs last year. Had a really good year because he was in a contract year. He wants to get paid. Eckler wants to get paid.
That big money?
He wants that big money. I'll pick Austin Eckler at 2. Who you go to?
For 3.
2.
Oh, all right. You said your number 2 pick, so
Who'd you go with number 2?
I'm between CMC and Jamar Chase.
Who'd you pick?
Jamar Chase.
You picked Jamar Chase at number 2?
Yeah.
I'll pick him at number 3. That's a good pick. I'll pick him at 3. I value Eckler's ability to he's going to score more touchdowns than Jamar Chase. But Jamar Chase was hurt for a big chunk of last year, and he still was great. And that's a Bengals offense that you're going to want a lot of players on, whether it be T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon. Can't go wrong. I just slightly prefer Eckler. And then at 4, we'll go McCaffrey, right?
Yes.
We'll go 4 McCaffrey. At pick 5,
I'm gonna go Travis Kelce at number
you go
5.
Travis Kelce. I really want to go Kelce. I'm gonna pick Tyreek Hill at the 5th. That's who I would go with. You'll see with my 12th pick is a little bit of a surprise, but I am really high on this Miami offense. I think this team, if Tua can stay out of concussions, which is a big if, I think the Miami Dolphins are going to be electric. I mean, this offense, I think they have the best receiving core in the league. Tyreek, Waddle. They brought in Cedric Wilson. They could get Dalvin Cook. Tua, when he played, has such high upside. Remember the game against the Ravens had 6 touchdowns. He had 25 touchdowns last year, and he missed a good amount of time. And I'm looking at his first name right now. Oh, my goodness.
It's like
Tua Nigamana Okapalu
Yeah.
Donnie Tua. Yep.
His brother has a similar name like that. I think he's still at Maryland.
Tulia?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know his full name. Okay, so yeah, I'll take Tyreek at 5, and then at 6, I'll go Travis Kelce.
And I'll go Tyreek.
I'll have Travis Kelce. I mean, come on, it's a point where you're now playing, I think, with fire, because he can't be good forever, and now he's going to be 34. It's one of the next 3-4 years he's not going to be good anymore, and you're taking a risk with that. But I don't think it's this year. He's still got Mahomes, and I mean, it's Kelce or Mark Andrews or Darren Waller,
Definitely
George
Kelce.
Kittle. I mean, the advantage of having a tight end that's great, that Kelce could outscore all other tight ends by 10 points every week. I'll go Kelce at 6. You got 7.
Gonna have to go with Cup. I think he'll have
Cooper
a
Kupp,
bounce back year after, I think it was tearing his ACL.
I don't know, calling that a bounce back. He just got hurt. I mean, it wasn't like he was bad.
Well, no, but
The
he didn't
Rams have
many
nobody
games,
to throw
so-
to. He's going to get 48 targets a game in the first quarter on first downs. He's going to get a lot of targets, and I can't disagree with that pick at all. Cooper Kupp at 7. Then I go Stephon Diggs at 8. It's, again, with the Bengals, you want to get a part of that offense. The Dolphins, and then with the Bills and Josh Allen, that's his favorite target. Go Diggs at 8.
Yeah.
Go Diggs at 8.
Yeah.
My number 9 pick is going to be Devontae Adams. I don't care who they have at quarterback.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G,
If he passes physical.
the Italian stallion. They traded away Darren Waller. I don't know if that affects Devontae Adams that much. He's going to be like Cooper Kupp. He's going to get all the catches he can. I think he's more talented than Cooper Kupp, and I'll go with Devontae Adams at number 9. Who is your pick at the 9th pick in the draft?
I'm gonna have to go with. With how hyped he's been in the draft, I might go with Bijan Robinson.
Deshaun, that's my 10th pick.
I mean,
it's like safe. Like
he's gonna be. You have Drake London at wide receiver, and then you have Bijan at running back. They have a decent O line, and your quarterback's Desmond Ridder, who wasn't NFL ready last year. I feel like
they are going to feed him into the freaking ground.
You have him, and then you have Tyler Algier,
Algier, yeah.
Alligator at your other running back.
Which is he rushed for 1,000 yards last year,
I know,
but it doesn't worry me. Bijan Robinson's going to get all the touches he can. Can catch the ball, very explosive. I'll pick him at 10. Who's your 10th pick?
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. Okay. My 11th pick, A.J. Brown. I mean, just a guy that is, I don't want to say broke out with the Eagles, but had his best year. He's very consistent.
You're going from a quarterback to Ryan Tannehill to Jalen Hurts, so.
Yeah, 2 running backs there. Who'd you pick at 11?
I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle at pick 11. That's who I'm going to pick at pick 12. Surprising that you're high on him like I am. if you can get Tyreek and Waddle in the first 2 rounds in fantasy, you're going to win the league.
Yeah, you're set.
Because one of them is going to have a big game. Okay? I did this a few years ago with Metcalf and Lockett.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf can suck, but if DK Metcalf sucks,
And then Tyler Lockett will have a good game.
It
And then next week, Tyler Lockett won't be good, and then DK will be good. And then
they're never both going to have a bad game. And in fantasy, I know it's PPR. You want to get the receptions, but the 60-yard bombs running away from the defense, Waddle, Tyreek, and I'd like 2 in fantasy as well. So that is the top 12 in fantasy football that we would draft. Let's end this episode off with some dark horse contenders in each conference. I'm going to start off in the AFC. I'm going to give you a team that I think is a dark horse for the Super Bowl. That's a playoff team. Dark horse to make the playoffs, and then in between. AFC, I just mentioned the Miami Dolphins. I think they're going to be very good. I think I would be a little surprised, not much, if they end up in the Super Bowl this year. And then I have the Texans, made a lot of signings.
Yes.
Remind me of the Jaguars a few years ago. They made all those moves, got a new quarterback. Texans can be good. And then I got the Browns. I think the Cleveland Browns. People forget how good Deshaun Watson is. He sucked last year, getting a full season under his belt. Nick Chubb. That could be a team that wins
Cooper.
10 games. Yep. Who's your 3 teams?
So one of my dark horses would be the Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos. Okay, you already. Yep.
Yeah.
Dark horse playoffs. Dark horse Super Bowl.
Playoff.
Okay.
I think most of mine will be playoffs,
Okay.
not Super Bowl. I don't see
Okay.
some of them making the Super Bowl. My next team is going to be, like what you said, the Cleveland Browns.
The Browns. Final team. Got the Colts in there. Patriots. Steelers. Is Anthony Richardson the greatest of all time?
No.
Raiders.
I'm going to have to go with the Patriots,
The Patriots.
as another team that could make the Super Bowl.
What?
Yeah.
They can make the Super Bowl?
Not Super Bowl, playoffs.
I was going to say, Mac Jones is not sniffing a Super Bowl. Mac Jones in the freaking Super Bowl. Oh, my goodness.
Will never happen, but
NFC. What if Sam Howell's just really good?
I could see it.
What if he's just really good and the Commanders are just win the division? It's not going to happen.
Not win the division. They
but
could. They could be definitely a
what
lot
if?
better than last year.
Chicago Bears made a lot of moves. What
They
if
could.
What if the Bears are the next Eagles? Running quarterback. They bring in a big-time receiver to help out the quarterback. What if the Bears are really good? I don't think they are. I hope they're not because I like the Vikings. And then finally, the Rams. They lost a few pieces, but they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Stafford's back. They had a winning record before Stafford got hurt. Cup's back. Who's your teams in the NFC?
One of my picks would be the Detroit Lions.
Dark horse for a Super Bowl? Because I think they're already a playoff team.
Yeah, but it would be close to the playoffs. I think they could make it to the
Second
wild
round.
card and then divisional and then conference. Yeah, I feel like they can make divisional or conference.
NFC, they can make the NFC Championship. Okay. I think
They
they're a little
could.
overrated. Okay. Who's your other 2?
My next pick, I'm gonna go with the Panthers.
The Panthers? I like
for
that
the
pick.
playoffs.
Okay.
You're in a
Bad division.
yes. You have
They could win 7 games and win the division.
yeah. They'll do what they did last year. They'll go 7-10 and possibly win the division.
Okay, your final team. Cardinals.
No.
You got the Giants.
Yeah, that's who I was leaning to.
To,
You bring in Darren Waller.
to
you
win the
hope-
Super Bowl?
No, but make the playoffs. Hopefully.
How are they a dark horse? They just made it last year.
Yeah, but I feel like they could go a little bit farther.
Then
Feel
the
like-
divisional, they're going to make the NFC Championship?
I don't know.
If that's a dark
You're just
horse,
salty.
that's a dark horse for them to.
You're just a
No,
little
no,
mad that the
no,
Vikings got beat by him last year.
Nope. If they're a dark horse, they got to be dark horse Super Bowl.
Yeah, then never mind. I don't see him making the Super Bowl at all.
Speaking of that, teams not on that list, teams that you're really high on. I think the Packers are going to be really good. I think Jordan Love is going to be great. I think the Packers could win the division. Any team from there, not on that list, that you just think not many people are talking about that they can be good?
My next pick would just be the Commanders, probably. I mean,
And then finally here, teams that you think will suck. The Giants still have Daniel Jones playing quarterback. He's not good. He's not good. The Giants will win 7 games. They had a fluke year last year. The Giants won't be good. Who's your team that will not be good? That people are like, oh, they'll be a playoff team, blah, blah, blah. There's won't be it. The Vikings?
I was going to lean more
The
towards
Saints?
possibly the Seahawks.
The Seahawks?
I feel like Geno might not have the same year he had last
Okay.
year. He'll fall off a little bit. I mean, you're in a tough division there. Besides the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals are the Cardinals.
The
Whatever
Rams
they're.
are as well. All right, so that's going to do it for us today. Got next week of sports, another kind of dead week of sports, but we're only a few weeks away from the Hall of Fame game, from the NFL kicking off. Until then, we'll see you next week. This was episode number 1 of Talking About Balls.